Good evening, good evening. Welcome to Voices Before the Votes. As usual, I'll bring to you your favorite aspirants to answer your favorite questions you have in mind that is bothering you since you came to school. Today we are here not for any sweet talk or any sweet campaign talk. We're here to interview some of the big contenders of the SRC presidential elections. We're going to ask tough questions. You are going to find out who truly deserves the position, and it's you to decide who your vote goes to. So no big questions today. No off limits. Answers will go unchallenged. Going to flow. So today we have Sir Johnson, as you can see here with me, and he's one of the big contenders or one of the big people contesting for the SRC presidential elections. Welcome, Sir Johnson.
Thank you very much, Senior.
Yes. So we'll dive straight into the interview.
Okay.
First of all, we'd like to tell our viewers who Sir Johnson is.
All right. Thank you very much for hosting me on this platform. My name is Johnson Isaac Nkitia. I am mostly called Sir Johnson, and I am an SRC presidential aspirant for the 2025 general election. And as someone that has the concerns of the students at heart, I am ever willing to defend the students to every extent. And so to say something about Sir Johnson, I would just say that Sir Johnson is an individual who has the concerns of the students at heart.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Straight into the big question. Last year, Sir Johnson, you were disqualified for allegedly not purchasing nomination forms. You had a chance to vindicate yourself. That's what people say. But you stepped back. Why should students believe you are fit to lead the SRC this time around?
Okay. Thank you very much for the question. With what happened last year, but I like how you use the word. You were alleged of not purchasing nomination forms, and as a matter of fact, as you said, we had a chance to vindicate ourselves. But one thing I believe in is that with everything we do, especially as leaders who will be mounting the highest office of the SRC some time to come, we should be able to go through the due process. And so even though we had the full right to do whatever we are supposed to do, we just wanted to go through the due process, which we did. And to those that may recall, we brought up this press conference which talked about the background story of everything that happened. And so we actually did, just that the voice wasn't on, it wasn't heard. And as a result of some, I would say, political influences that happened last year. So that's the main reason we may see that Johnson didn't vindicate himself. But um, a point of correction, we did. Yes, we did.
All right. So, Sir Johnson,
Yes, boss.
this year you were again disqualified for last year's event or
Yes,
last year's misconduct, alleged misconduct.
yes.
Yet you fought. You fought over your way back into the race. Some say this persistence is admirable. Others say it's out of desperation. What do you think it is?
I'll go for the first one.
It's
Yes, it's admirable.
it's
Wow,
admirable.
yes. Sometimes when I sit back and then I see how things were being played, I actually cherish the kind of efforts we put in. Yes, it's not just for Sir Johnson, but then for the entire student body, because I realized that these acts that were happening were acts of injustice, and so to be able to get this precedence to stop, I know very well it won't end here. It will go a long way to help even those after me or behind me, because from now, no one can, based on their authority, just disqualify anyone based on their political affiliations or whatsoever. And so I know it's definitely going to be of help.
All right.
So,
All right. You said they can't disqualify anyone based on political affiliations.
yes.
So do you believe that your disqualification last year and this year was based on some political interferences?
Oh, yes. I strongly believe. Yes, I strongly, and I have evidence for that. Um, just the last ended hearing, that's the one we did with the Judicial Committee. There were lots of truths that came out which backed the fact that we were taken out of the race as a result of political influence, because how can you tell me that the one going to preside over our case gives evidence to the plaintiff or the petitioner to use against us? You understand? And so all these are, and if you look at the letter they brought, that's from the judicial committee chair. It started somewhere 26th June, where he went to the administration to inquire about my disciplinary history, and all these fell in place. And I know very well that they were tactical moves that they were just trying to use to get us out of the race. And I am very, very confident that it was as a result of political influence.
All right, but you fought. That's good. That's good to know.
Thank you very
Your
much.
fans and your supporters are very happy
Thank
you are
you
back in the
very much.
race.
Yes.
Yes. So, if the SRC rules and regulations disqualified you from the race, what message does it send to the people or the student body that you are deemed fit for this position?
Yes, okay. I would say that there is a negative message out there to some extent. But one thing I also know, and then I want to clarify, is that it's not the rules of the SRC that took us out, but it was based on some individuals giving authority. And here, by giving authority, I mean the authority that has been given to them by the students. So I one time posted that the authority of the judicial committee was given to the students to serve the students, not to sabotage the students. And so they were just trying, some of them I would say were just trying to use their powers to, gain some political points. And so I won't say categorically that the SRC constitution took me out of the race, because even from the reports they brought, you can't see any clause of the SRC constitution in it. You get the only clause that was in the report is I think Article 8 to BII, yes. And that one talks about how the judicial committee takes decisions. That's by simple majority. And so that one even has no relation with the whole case. And so from the start of the whole process or the whole report to the end of the report, there was no constitutional backing for anything. And so I wouldn't say that the SRC constitution took me out.
All right.
Yes.
So basically, you're saying there was no basis for your disqualification.
Of course,
Right.
of course.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
Yes.
So, do you feel your return to the race was due to fair process, or that there's something's happening behind the political scene on your side?
Oh, it was due to fair process.
Fair process.
Yes, fair process.
All right.
Yes,
All right.
because right from, when we went for the hearing, we started way back from last year. What happened? The number of reports or letters we wrote to the judicial committee, then the dean of students, and all the important stakeholders, which were not attended to. We started from there, and everything was, I would say, in our favor, because we were just going strictly by the law. But here is the case, some others were also using their own authority to do stuff.
All right. All right. Someone may be sitting out there and saying about Sir Johnson last year, you were given a chance to vindicate yourself, and you didn't vindicate yourself. And what shows that when you're supposed to lobby something for the school outside or a bigger body, and they tend to give you on due process, or they take you out of the race for you lobbying for something for the school or for the student body, you give up because they gave you a room for vindication, or you knew something was wearing unfit or wearing or was not fair or was not right. You didn't push for the right thing to be done, but you step back. So what shows that when you're given a position and you are lobbying for something for the school, you push through to the last end to get things done for the school.
All right. I will also say that we did our best. You understand? We did our best. Just that from last year, because of whatever decisions some individuals had already made concerning what they were going to make or going to do, we weren't able to get the hearing we were supposed to get. And so even our natural justice was, I would say, trampled upon. You get it? And with this case being related to lobbying for the students, one thing I would say, or one characteristic I would say I possess, is my ability to speak on behalf of those I serve. Now, this is very evident in the mining 3 class I serve. Yes, I've been the course rep from level 100 to this time, and whoever you meet and that person comes from mining three, if you ask about Sir Johnson, when it comes to negotiation powers, I am not boasting, but it's something I can actually talk about. That when it comes to negotiation powers, we are definitely on point. And so the students are not supposed to worry about anything at all. One thing I also know is that if we start pushing for something and we know it's on legal basis, yet some individuals are trying to stand in the way, meaning we do not deserve it. So the main reason we stepped back last year, or yes, last year's election, the main reason we stepped back was that we realized that the whole thing was actually influenced already, and the process was not due. It was already flawed, and for that reason, we just decided to step back. You understand? Because I don't see myself fit for that kind of flawed process. So that's the main reason we decided to step back. Yes, so I think that's fine.
That's fine. All right. Yeah. I get you.
Yes.
I get you. So you have big contenders. You have a competition is very tough. But people
Yes.
say you have the votes, but no politics, anything can happen at any time.
Anything can
Yes.
happen.
So I was wanting to ask, have the past presidential candidate or presidents that have come by, people say they've not fulfilled their promises. Um, they've not lived up to the tax, or they've not given the people what they deserve. They tend to come for the position for money or for their own gain. What are you here for? What are you in for? What makes you unique from them?
All right. So it's all about the vision. Yes, it's all about the vision. Now, individuals may have different perceptions about different people, especially leaders of the SRC, the ones that are gone, current or whatsoever. But one thing I know is that it's a matter of personality difference. Yes. And when it comes to personality, it's mostly difficult for you, the individual, to defend yourself to some extent. But one thing I can tell the students is that I am never going to let their hands down, or I won't let them down, right? Um, the main reason I am running for this election is that I have realized that there is a gap which we are supposed to close. And the vision is actually built on this gap, because I have been here for like 3 years, and yet I have never seen any SRC administration that has come to me or the students for, I'm not talking about SRC presidential aspirants.
Yes.
We mostly do, you
Yes.
understand?
Yes.
Yes. But the administration, after we voting for them, coming back to us and then asking of our ideas. I know very well that this is the major challenge we are facing as students. And as a matter of fact, the challenge that almost every other challenge revolves around. And so once we are able to eradicate this kind of challenge, we will be able to get a better SRC. In the sense that now let's give the students the chance to show what they want or give out what they want. Because I mostly use this example. If you go to the restaurant, you don't sit and then they give you your food. You sit for them to give you the menu, you place your order, and they bring you what you ordered for. And so you have every right to send back whatever they bring if that's not what you ordered for. And I feel like the students don't have the right to speak in the administration just because we are not the ones making the decisions. They don't give us the chance to make the decisions. And that's the kind of narrative I want us to change. That we get an SRC administration which puts the students first, especially when it comes to decision making. And so I am here to make this correction and then put the SRC at a better place.
All right. But you saying the student is supposed to give you ideas, or the student is supposed to come out of the shell to give you ideas or order for something and
Yes.
you bring it back to them.
Yes.
What if the student brings the ideas and you don't deliver as promised? You said in a restaurant the client or the customer orders something and it's brought. If it's not what is
Exactly.
brought, he or she can decline order or return the
Yes.
order. So
Exactly.
what if you ordered for something, you came to for you ordered for something and you don't bring it? Do we have every right to speak against you? Can I meet you on the roadside and tell you that Sir Johnson you perform poorly? Can I raise an alarm that Sir Johnson performed poorly? Do I have every right to tell you that you didn't do your best?
Exactly. You do have that right. Um, last year, when you look through our policies, Now, the main reason we included about three strong policies, which was aimed at reaching the students, is that we don't want the situation where, as the SRC president, I will sit up there and then act based on my instincts. I feel like the students will like this. And so, looking at the reach the SRC at your own convenience, where we said that we're going to make available email, a designated email for the SRC, where students can bring out their challenges, especially those that may not want to do the one-on-one with the SRC then. So the one-on-one with the SRC was also part of the policies. So that's two. And this open forum, I feel like once the students come on board and then they start sharing their ideas, even if you don't do, you definitely call for another open forum, and that whichever students that meets you out there can boldly say that, oh, you are not doing what you said or we said you should do. And so students can definitely hold us accountable for whatever we do. So that's the main reason we want the students to hold us accountable for whatever we do. So that's why we are saying that we want you to be the rightful decision makers of this SRC
All
administration.
right. So there are three. Per my last interview with some of the students, there are three core issues. I mean,
Mhm.
core issues they are facing at the moment, and one is transport, two is accommodation, and three is network. Coming I'll start with the from highest to the lowest. That's accommodation. Recently, I saw a letter out there dated probably in May somewhere that we shouldn't rush to pay our hostel fees. That the SRC is in place to do something concerning the hostel fee reduction.
Yeah.
But in the end, right now I'm seeing hostel prices coming out with the same
Yes.
price with more increases and everything.
Yes.
That means the SRC has failed us. What makes it different from them? What plans do you have in place to address this issue when you get into power?
All right. So one thing over the past years I've been here for like 3 years now, almost every SRC administration does the same thing you are talking about. They release a letter, don't rush to pay your hostel fees, don't do this, don't do that. Yet we don't see anything again. And mostly these things happen in the second semester. And you realize that during the second semester, we don't have the luxury of time to be, deliberating on issues like this. And so we will just rush, and then hostel managers will bring out their prices. And once their prices come out, there is nothing you can do about it. That's per the experience I've had over the last 3 years. But one thing I know is that if we are able to start earlier, that's somewhere in the first semester, drawing their attention to the fact that the increment or the hikes in the hostel prices isn't something the students are happy about. I know very well that it may not actually take off the challenge, but it will reduce the pressure a bit, in the sense that they will be mindful of the kind of um, prices they bring out there. So my issue is that let's start earlier instead of waiting till the second semester and then bringing these kind of letters out. Why don't we start the negotiation somewhere in the first semester? Immediately we resume office and then we start the negotiation. I know very well that it will go a long way to help the students' body. And also, we acknowledge the fact that these hostels are private businesses,
Yeah.
yet they have students there. And so there is this kind of clause that will bind them in a way. Once we have students there, you are supposed to treat them fairly. You get it? So even though you are a private entity, yet once we have students there, you are supposed to treat them fairly. And so we can actually leverage on the fact that students are in your hostels. And so as the SRC, one of the responsibilities of the SRC is to protect and defend the students. And so as the SRC, this is what our students are saying. And so let's do something about it. I believe that if we are able to negotiate and negotiate well, things should fall in place. Even though we are not going to promise that we will reduce hostel prices, but one thing I know is that at least the increment won't be as huge as we see now.
All right. Moving on, secondly, transport. If we go
Okay.
to compare to other institutions, particularly tech, for example, KNUS, for example, they have students living so far away from campus or living behind campus, where they have this shuttle system that brings them to campus and take them off campus. UCC has the same thing. But for you, maths, it's a challenge in here where students have to close from 7:30. Someone wants to stay back to revise whatever they've not learned or visit whoever they want to see to take them some tutorials. So they end up leaving campus around 10 p.m. and they don't get car or don't get transport back to their hostels. Or some students complain that their hostels are too far for them to come to campus at certain times, class hours. And what is the SRCD in place? Apart from the hostel being providing transport to them, SRCD in place to provide transport to the students. For as in your school fees, you are paying a transport fee, a transport levy. Where is that transport levy going to, and what is it going to be used for?
Okay. So where it's going to, I can't talk about it
All
now
right,
because I've not yet resumed office.
all right,
And I would say what the SRC is currently doing about it, that one too, I can't talk about it because I don't know what they are doing about it. But one thing I know we can definitely do about it is that what if, because the students pay the students pay the shuttle fee as part of their hostel prices, right? So what if we also make sure that the hostel managers make their
but
vehicles
we are
available?
also paying for every student paying for transport levy. So what if I'm
Yes.
staying at KT, I'm paying for transport levy?
Oh, okay.
So what's it being used for?
It's quite unfortunate that I won't be able to give specifics of what those ones are being used for, as I'm limited in knowledge about that. But I know very well that we can definitely utilize them in the near future. Probably someone watching can get an innovative idea, which we will really appreciate. So just in case there is any, they can
All
bring
right.
that on board.
Now, short, just very short.
Yes.
Now the network issue. People live as far as Osborne, Jambes, Cabes, and the rest. They say they have network issues with their network. They can't BLE. You can be in BLE class. Automatically takes you out because of the network, and there's attendance taking. You miss attendance, your mark is gone down. What is the SRS going to do to help that? To increase the the number amount of data given by Vodafone or you give Vodafone the competition. I don't know what plan you have in place. Is there any plan towards that?
Oh yeah, so last year with the Garnet SIM, we had a policy around that because I realized that we were being given 3 gig, which as I sit here, I can use 3 gig in like one day, like you
Yes, very
see.
true.
So the 3 gig is not actually enough for the students. So we decided to lobby for more. And as at that time, we decided to increase it to like 7 gig with rollover. That's it won't expire. Good. So we can definitely do that. And also one thing, I've been going to hostels and then asking for the students' ideas because, as I said, I don't want a situation where I will act based on my instincts. I want what the students want. And so one time I went to the hostel and then the student was like, why then don't we get Wi-Fi all over campus? And when I reasoned through that, I realized that this thing is something we can do because tech is so huge. In fact, a very vast area of land. Yet they've been able to install Wi-Fi on almost everywhere. So what's preventing UMAT from,
Doing same.
doing the same? And so we actually plan to install Wi-Fi all over campus. Where if you are moving from SPET to FMMT, you are not that worried because where you are going, there is Wi-Fi over there. Sometimes I see students being seated at one point throughout their VL. Maybe they even want to go and do something else. Yet because of the availability of network, they are forced to stay at that place. And so if we get the opportunity to serve the students, one thing I am very, very interested in doing is ensuring that there will be Wi-Fi all over campus.
All right,
Yes,
right, right. So, Mr. Johnson,
boss.
lastly, I would like you to tell the people how far are you willing to go to get the student needs addressed, or how far are you willing to go in terms of intimidation, underestimation, and all those challenges that come your way when you're lobbying for something for students. How far are you willing to go for the students?
All right. So I first of all want to say a very big thank you to everyone that helped in this fight. I remember going to classes asking for student support because I realized that it wasn't something Sir Johnson alone can do. And it's so good that we are hearing that Sir Johnson is back. And I want to extend an arm of appreciation to each and every one of us watching this. One thing I want to say is that all these trials we went through, all these tribulations and temptations whatsoever, were meant to strengthen us. That's the belief I have. And as it stands now, I know very well and I'm very confident that we are strengthened enough to be able to serve the students and serve them well. Because if we have been able to go through this extent, now the Judicial Committee released a verdict against us, the kind of intimidation, we are humans, it will bring. Yet there was still campaign. Like the team never relaxed. We're still moving, and we went to the appellate. Things were being slowed down, yet we were still moving. And so, if we have been able to go this extent, I know very well that we will be able to serve the students to every extent. So, whichever challenge we are facing, so far as it's within the reach of the SRC, I promise you that we are definitely going to make a change. And I want this change to be a collective change, that we all will establish our names in the books of the SRC, that some time ago, these particular people, this year group, were able to do this, and it has been a precedence. So I will say that don't worry, we are definitely going to go any extent to make sure your needs are met.
All right. Dear viewer, you heard Mr. Johnson right. He said he's going to go far to make sure change comes.
Yes.
If you're out there, if it's your big person you want to vote for, a big contender you want to vote for, he's here to convince you.
Yes.
I guess he has convinced you.
Yes.
So we'd like to end this interview here. Thank you for watching the Voices Before the Post. Subscribe to it and share to your friends. Post it where you want to post it to hear that your big contender has answers to their problems.
Exactly.
Thank you. See you next time.
Okay.